gather round, children, let me spin a tale of Elken the rogue and the bear-free trail. Both Elken and Leoben were born without their maws. They grew up side by side, living in the trees because they had no bed to sleep on, they had no place to rest, and the carefree life of nomads seemed to them the best. They traveled around the country, living off the land, by stealing apples and bread loaves with their sleights of hand. They scammed and stole and cheated, with no one none the wiser. Each town seemed like a jackpot till they found the household miser. That miser was a hoarder, richer than the king, but the two friends knew they could pull it off. It'd be their greatest sting. As they sneaked and snuck around, they didn't make a noise, but the miser and his awful hounds caught the young crooked boys. The miser tried to tell the town it should end at the guillotine, but the town said that wasn't right, he needn't make a scene. The miser wanted restitution, the thieves must pay a price, so the village told the boys to hunt and kill the bear sleuth twice. So Elken and Leoben headed out into the forest deep. They could have run off or hid, but they had an oath to keep. For days on end they tracked the bears, watching from the trees. Once or twice they got too close, and they were nearly seen. They knew the time to strike the bears was nearly in a minute, but to kill such bears just as a cost, they almost couldn't do it. For 5 more days they sat and watched, the two boys growing weary, when they saw a sight, a terrible thing, something much too eerie. One night late, much past the sun, just before the moon went down, they saw the bears for the first time make a dreadful march to town. The two friends soon were at forest's edge, with no more trees were covered. They couldn't see the town, of course, but they heard the sounds and shuddered. The screams of pain pierced through the air, the smell of death was thick. The sleuth came back with bloody teeth and faces with smiles slick. The two teen rogues now knew the plan, they had no conscious thoughts, only memories of their saviors and the pain the bears had wrought. They dove upon the bears, straight from their perch above. They emptied every ounce of range, they stabbed and punched and shoved. But with one bear left, they'd had their fun, they didn't want to slaughter. So they left one bear all by himself, they'd killed his sow and daughter. The two friends headed south, of course, back to the town they saved, for the bear turned round to them, backs turned, and emptied his own rage. The huge brute charged, mighty and swift, and swung a mighty paw, but with a flick of arm and wrist, he snapped young Leoben's jaw. Leoben cried in pain and fear, a cry unheard to many. The cry unleashed Elken's wrath, a wrath not known to many. Elken screamed in fear and hate and swung his puny dagger. The dagger went into its gut and made the bear bull stagger. But that was not the end of Elken's evil passion. He cut off the bear's ears and snout and just kept on with his slashing. He cut off each of the poor bear's toes and then moved up to his knee. He cut off the bear's tongue, and he stopped and listened, and he could hear its silent plea. The bear had nothing left, but as Elken looked into his eyes, he could see the bear slowly die, but the bear did not despise. Elken ran to help his friend, who was stricken by the bear, but as Leoben shut his eyes, they knew that this would end the pair. Elken had never had a last name other than called Crook, so to remind him of his sorry past, the name Barmorder he took. He marked the trees all soaked with blood with a simple stick-made bear, so travelers coming by could see young Elken's depressing affairs. He now walks along all by himself, for Leoben is long dead, and if he sees or hears a bear, he is shamed and hangs his head. And when he is down like this, the only way of reversal is to pull out a knife and carve a bear, a crude and simple symbol. So if you see the carved bear man scratched onto a tree, remember the power of hate and the dying bear's last plea. For Elken left that symbol there for not just me but you, to tell you of the foolish things he wished he didn't do.